Everyone does it for their own reasons, but a lot of what our reason behind wanting to do wind is that we want to have local control of our power supply. In the history of our co-op, we've been mostly a distribution co-op, and we want to become more generation-based co-op. So we will have control of our own power supply and not have to rely so heavily on the chaotic California market.
This is Peak Moment. We are living at a peak of human innovation, information, wealth, and health. But we're also at a peak of population and consumption, with rising temperatures and declining resources fueled by cheap oil and gas. Peak Moment Television, bringing you examples of positive responses to energy decline and climate change through local community action.
As oil and gas supplies decline, we're going to need to localize our economies. And that means meeting our essential needs nearby. Today, we're going to hear from a group that are doing that in rural California. My guest today is Jessica Nelson, who's the Energy Services Manager at the Plumas Sierra Rural Electric Co-op. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, what is this co-op and where and kind of what's different from your co-op from PG&E, our main supplier of electricity here? What's different?
Well, Plumas Sierra we were created in 1937, so we go back a ways. We serve Plumas Sierra, Lassen, and a small bit of Washoe County. Our main focus has been to serve the rural areas that were not taken up by PG&E back in the 30s. Franklin D. Roosevelt, he created the Rural Electrification Administration. Right. And that's how the REAs came into existence. Our area is very rural, and it's not profitable because it is not a dense area of populated people, or it doesn't have a large resource like large hydro. So we were sort of left out by the IOUs and the investor-owned utilities like PG&E. And our local people decided to take it up by themselves and create their own cooperative, and that's how we were formed.
So as a cooperative, what you said, your people did this. So how's that different from an investor-owned utility? I mean,
well, we are a locally owned, a locally governed cooperative, and that means that it's a nonprofit, and it is not investor-owned. There are no investors that are watching their shares and wanting to make sure that it's profitable. Everything we do is for the good of the community and the good of our members. It's a democratically run organization, so everyone has an equal vote, and we are run by a board instead of a president or CEO.
Sounds like a real model that a lot of communities, ours included, would love to have, so that we're really serving our real people instead of having to help a shareholder that's, hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away.
Absolutely, and it's more responsive. People in local areas know what their needs are, they know what their interests are, and they have an equal vote in what their outcome is.
So what kinds of projects do you have going for your customers, your owners?
Our members are definitely interested in renewable energy, and we're trying to keep up with them and their interests. So our main big program right now is our wind energy project. It's a large wind project, a 22.5 megawatt wind energy project.
So give us a sense of what kind of scale are we talking about? How many turbines?
Well, it's modest for big wind, but for our membership, it's quite big. We're looking at 9 large wind turbines. These aren't the ones that you see that you remember on farms or anything. These are quite large, and so we're looking at about 9, which would give us 22.5 megawatt capacity. And that could serve about 30% of our needs of the whole area.
That's a great start.
Great start.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. So what stage are you at creating the wind farm?
The wind farm, we're currently in the environmental review stages. We're doing all sorts of documentation and studies to ensure that it's an environmentally responsible project, and we are going to have the output that we expect from it. So we're we're hoping to have the public review process and environmental impact reports drafted by the end of the summer. Depending on the wind turbine availability and the vendor that we choose, we hope to begins construction really either 2007 or 2008.
Let's hope it happens on the soon side. I bet you are. That's exciting. Where are you going to? Your area is largely a large valley, right?
Yeah, parts of it are in the Sierra Valley, and we also encompass parts of the mountain areas as well.
To your east.
All around.
All around. Really?
We skirt around the heavily populated areas, and when I say heavily, it's it's definitely still rural. But we serve a lot of irrigators, and we serve a lot of farmers and really rural areas.
So you're going to place the turbines going to be on one of your mountain slopes, right?
Yep, it's on the east side escarpment of the Sierras. It's in a great spot because it sets back, and so the visual impact of it is very, very minimal. You can only see the project for about 3 miles from the highway, and then it disappears again. And so that's very good. We've minimized the visual impact, and so it's at the north end of our service territory, and we're just trying to involve the public as much as possible and make it their project. So
it sounds like your community's interest in renewables is pushing this in a way. Right. And so your local people are investing in this.
Absolutely. They're investing in this, and everyone does it for their own reasons, but a lot of what our reason behind wanting to do wind is that we want to have local control of our power supply. In the history of our co-op, we've been mostly a distribution co-op, and we want to become more generation-based co-op. So we will have control of our own power supply and not have to rely so heavily on the chaotic California market.
The chaotic California market, really. Did it hit you hard when you had the big brownouts and the blackouts a few years ago?
We actually escaped pretty unscathed. We were very, very lucky. We had some programs in place, demand relief programs, to try to shed load when we needed to, and we actually never experienced a blackout during all those stages.
Good for you. So what other programs do you have going for your customers?
One of the most popular and award-winning programs that we have is our Geo Exchange program. It's basically geothermal technology for a residence, and that's a heating and cooling technology that draws the energy out of the earth and heats and cools your home.
Tell us more about this, and whether it's because it must be more widely applicable. I mean, unless you have special ground where you are.
Right. No, it's not reliant on geothermal activity, hot springs or anything like that. It's just basically putting these heat exchange coils into the ground, and the fluid in the coils will exchange with the earth. The heat exchanges and draws back into your home. Anyone can do it. It's just a matter of getting a local installer and looking into sometimes soil types will make a difference, but you definitely don't need a geothermal resource. It's just a simple technology like an air-to-air heat pump, but instead you're exchanging with the Earth's energy.
Temperature.
And it's renewable. So.
Of course.
Right?
I mean, yeah. It's there. So is there some, does one have to have, say, a ducted furnace kind of home?
Right.
I mean, what kind of requirements are on that side?
Yes, absolutely. It is a ducted system, like a central heating or air conditioning system, and so it's best installed in new homes just because you're equipped for that. But you can do retrofits. It's absolutely you just have to do the duct work in your home.
So about how much? Just an idea of how much does that cost?
They're a little pricey up front. We have incentives in place through Plymouth Sierra to help people out with that and pay for that up so they don't have that heavy cost up front.
But give me a range if you have an idea.
It definitely ranges if you're doing a retrofit or a new home.
Sure.
But yeah.
Are we talking 500? Are we talking 5,000?
Thousands.
Okay,
in
5,000 to 10,000.
Yeah,
okay,
in the tens of thousands. Yeah.
But if you think about that as an investment,
right,
which you can,
right,
Because our natural gas prices are going to be going up, propane, they're all going up. So you're looking at, if for a house that you're in for 20, 30, 40 years,
right.
I would imagine your payback is going to be noticeable.
Absolutely, and it's a hedge on the future. You're taking that jump and leap of faith and saying, prices are never going to come down. And after this winter, when heating prices were so expensive, we doubled interest, and people just love it.
I think that's I'm really pleased to hear you have that program, because all the statistics show that we're coming to the edge of the cliff pretty quick on natural gas supplies, which means the prices will rise, and your people will be in pretty good shape.
Yep,
particularly in the cold Sierra winters.
Absolutely.
Other programs do you have?
We have a new solar program, and we help people. Basically, we've teamed up with Cooperative Community Energy out of San Rafael, and we're able to offer our members complete financial analysis and system design so they can better assess if it's the right choice for them to invest in PV systems for their home.
Photovoltaics, right? What we think solar panels, right?
And we also offer rebates for our members, $2 per watt rebate, up to $3,000. So we are governed a little bit different than PG&E and some other investor-owned utilities, and so we aren't eligible, as our co-op members aren't eligible for the same rebates that everyone else is in California. So we still want to make it a good investment for people, and so we offer our own incentives. So we'll give people up to $3,000 to put that on their home. It's
great. What kind of response are you getting to that?
Lots of interest, and we're just beginning the building season up where we're at. We've had a late winter, so people are definitely interested in it, and we created a new net metering rate that's very helpful for people, and I think people are going to start.
So what's the net metering rate for our viewers, since they may not have heard of this?
Net metering is basically allowing your photovoltaic system to feed in and out of the grid. And so we will actually pay people back if they produce more electricity than they use.
And since you're a cooperative, you can set those terms, right? I mean, PG&E, doesn't pay you back what you put in.
Right.
Is your pattern similar to theirs, or
as far as the net metering?
Yeah.
Their rate schedule is so different from ours. It's hard to even compare the net metering rates. Their rates are quite a bit higher, and so of course putting in PV can sometimes be more cost effective for people who are paying higher rates. And so we try to equal the balance the playing field and help people out as much as we can to make them invest in that.
Now you just said something. You said that your rates are lower than PG&E.
Absolutely.
But I didn't assume that. How come they are?
Well, it's because we're not paying a shareholder. Everything that we take as profits, we give back to the members. If we have net earnings, we'll give it back, and or we'll lower our rates, or we'll do an
incentive program, or
we'll do incentive programs, and we'll put that back into programs to help people. And so we never have to raise rates just to pay off the investors that are grumbling.
I would think that that's a model that all of us would like to have in our communities as a cooperative, rather than a shareholder-based form. I expect that that's not easy to get. Right.
We're very lucky to have created our cooperative when we did, and there's lots of different kinds of cooperatives out there. We try to support all cooperatives, not just electric cooperatives. We try to support food cooperatives or whatever cooperatives want to come into existence, but it's a little bit more difficult to create your own electric cooperative now that everyone has their service territories defined.
What you have lower rates partly because you're not paying shareholders, but you're still pulling energy off the grid in California. That means you must be buying energy from whoever sells that.
We buy energy from all different areas, the Western area power, and we and basically we want to be in more control of our power, and that's the idea behind our direction. Is we really want to regain our local control and have that generation source on system.
So by gaining control, let's envision, I don't know whether your picture is, let's say you had 100% of your capacity that you needed for your co-op, you could generate. I mean, you're looking towards a third coming with your wind panel. Let's say expands.
Right.
You've got total control.
Total control. There are some regulations that we have to make sure to stay up on with the state, but in general, we have local control, and we try to serve the needs of our members.
That's truly a localized electric system, utility.
Right.
I can imagine that as we move down the road with declining supplies, more groups are going to want to do it for electricity, for food, perhaps for water if we can do that, for manufacturing. That cooperative model, I know is not as strong in America as it is in other places. I mean, I've heard that in Spain, for example, the Mondragon Cooperative is a huge enterprise, but you've got the seeds of the beginning for that in your area. You also mentioned to me earlier that you've got some conservation programs.
Right,
What
we
do you do?
We have great conservation programs. We're an Energy Star partner, and we encourage all of our members to be conservation minded and make sure that they get energy efficient appliances, and we'll give them rebates for that. We also offer online home energy calculators and all different tools to help our members make cost-effective decisions about becoming more energy efficient and conservative with their energy use.
So you must feel very proud of what you're doing. I'm going to go back for a second. You're partnering with, on your photovoltaic program, you're partnering with folks in San Rafael. Now, how are they involved?
Cooperative Community Energy is a great resource. They've been able to basically provide us with the expertise that we need to help our members. We're very small, very rural, and I wear many hats. So it's great to have Cooperative Community Energy as a partner that can keep up on the industry, keep up on regulations, let us know when there's tax incentives, and not only that, they have a great background and lots of connections in the solar industry, and so they're able to provide our members with discounted solar equipment, and just their expertise in general is greatly beneficial to our members, because since we're a member of Cooperative Community Energy, our members are members of their cooperative.
Okay.
So they reap all their benefits.
That's so it's a cooperative.
Right. Right.
So do you have, I didn't even ask you, how many households or people do you serve in your cooperative?
We have about 7,000 members, and like I said, it's all rural members. We skirt around a lot of the towns in our area, and we have about 5,000 square miles of service territory.
Wow.
So we have a huge amount of area to cover, which means lots of maintenance, upkeep, and just making sure we keep the lines up.
So you're responsible for that.
We're responsible
the storms
for
come,
that.
you get them
We
out
are the
there.
provider.
Okay, all right. And so 5,000 people, no, 5,000 square miles.
Right.
7,000 people.
Right, about 1,300 miles of line.
Now, I would assume that everyone within your territory, do they all have to be members of the cooperative to receive electricity?
Right. If they're in our service territory and they want to receive electricity from us, they have to be members. Okay. Our membership fee is only $5. It's and then they get cheaper electricity.
So that's it looks like a win-win-win all the way around.
Right.
For everybody.
Right.
So have you got any visions we've got about 3 minutes left here, any visions of where the cooperative might go in the future in addition to your wind farm?
Well, I think it's about becoming more local, and it's about really greening our portfolio. We want to have local control, and we want to not only meet the California Renewable Portfolio Standard, but we think we'll exceed that, and we may have access to sell off that green credits to others. But you know, our vision is to not just keep up with the times, but to be looking to the future. And I think the future is in renewable energy and in localizing and having control over your resources.
Well, good luck to you, and thank you for sharing with us. You're, I'm really proud, actually, to be Californian and to have you know, your efforts happening for your community to inspire other cooperatives, even if they're not able to be the service provider for an area, to be able to help people conserve, help people put up alternate energy, and even become generating resources, even if we're not part of a cooperative.
There's lots of education opportunities out there as well. So.
Well, we're coming into a new era, and we'll look to you for some of that visionary forward thinking that the rest of the world will need to follow.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
You're watching Peak Moment, Community Responses to a Changing Energy Future. I'm Janaea Donaldson. Join us next time. But first, energy news with Rick.
Thanks, Janaea. We start with a sad story from Los Angeles. Yesterday, LA County sheriffs, assisted by LA police, evicted everyone from the South Central Farm community garden in an industrial area of LA. Local area residents have been farming the 13-acre industrial lot for 14 years and had made many attempts to get the land purchased for their use as an urban community farm. Even though the Annenberg Foundation had agreed to buy the property for the asking price on behalf of the Trust for Public Land, the owner rejected that offer and asked that the evacuation be enforced. Protesters, including actress Daryl Hannah, were arrested after being forcibly removed from a tree on the farm and from being chained to nearby heavy objects. There were reports that bulldozers had knocked down fences and proceeded to destroy the farmland there. In an effort to help resolve the situation, the local government is helping by relocating the evicted farmers to many other community garden plots in the area. Recently, the California State Assembly approved legislation in a 56-to-8 vote that would allow water and wastewater agencies to sell renewable solar, hydro, and biomass-produced energy to electrical companies. This could add up to 250 megawatts of energy into the state's energy grid. The bill is now being considered by the state Senate. The California legislature is also working on the revived $1 Million Solar Rooftops bill that had died last year. There are still a number of contentious issues to be ironed out, but the bill, which could bring 3 gigawatts of solar power to California by 2018, is supported by the governor. In nearby Lincoln, California, Wave Power Plant Incorporated has announced that they have developed an ocean wave power plant that could generate power for the very low cost of 1 cent per kilowatt hour. The small-scale prototype will be tested in a sea trial later this month. In other regional news, Yolo County and Pacific Gas and Electric have funded a 500 kilowatt power system for the Herbert Bauer, MD, Health and Alcohol, Drug and Mental Health Building in Woodland, California. The solar system will produce about 40% of the energy used by the facility, reduce power costs by 39%, and prevent the annual emission of about 600 tons of carbon dioxide. Calcars.org is an advocate of what is known as plug-in hybrid technology for vehicles. They have converted Toyota Prius vehicles by adding larger batteries and modifying the engine computer to run on the batteries for greater distances, thus increasing gas mileage and allowing batteries to be recharged by plugging them in when not in use. This can give such a vehicle the equivalent of about 100 miles per gallon gas mileage. Calcars has been eager for Toyota to provide plug-in Prius as a factory option, and given current gas prices, sees an eager market for such a vehicle produced by Toyota in large volumes. This week, Toyota, in a long press release, included this statement: Toyota will advance its research and development of plug-in hybrid vehicles which can be charged from an external power source and provide electricity, and is currently working on a next-generation vehicle that can extend the distance traveled by the electric motor alone, and that is expected to have a significant effect on the CO2 and helping abate atmospheric pollution. In the press release, Toyota also said they would be introducing more hybrids and flex fuel vehicles in the near future. This is very encouraging news. We will keep you posted as we hear more from Toyota on this. From St. Paul Pioneer Press on Monday, the coal industry has stated that we have about 250 years of coal supply here in this country, that we are the Saudi Arabia of coal. Tell that to the people of Wheatland, Wyoming. Turns out that the electricity utility there uses 24,000 tons of coal every day to produce power for 1.6 million homes. The problem is they can't get enough coal fast enough. Due to the inability of the rail system to deliver coal, their reserves have dropped to less than a week's supply. This is rather ironic since they are only about 100 miles from the top 10 producing coal mines in the nation. They've had no choice but to scale back power production. It turns out that this is a nationwide problem. Coal-fired power plants everywhere are all suffering, not from lack of coal, but from the railroad system's inability to deliver it from Wyoming to the power plants. Some power plants have been forced to buy natural gas because they cannot get the coal they need. This is pushing the cost of power even higher for their customers. The railroads are now investing hundreds of millions to get the rail system back to meet the new increasing demand, when only a few years ago they were abandoning track for lack of business. Here's some energy factoids of the day on wind power. We have over 9,000 megawatts of wind generating capacity installed in this country today. It will generate over 24 billion kilowatt hours of power this year. That is only 1% of our power production. We have the potential to generate 10,000 billion kilowatt hours from wind annually, which is 3 times more than all the electricity generated in the U.S. today. The top 5 states for wind power potential are North Dakota, Texas, a very close second, Kansas, South Dakota, and Montana. California ranks 17th in wind power potential. I'll close today with an article that's more ironic than humorous. In Mahwah, New Jersey, a Hummer dealership is installing solar power on their roof. That, of course, is a great idea, but wouldn't it be even better if those Hummers they sell were using a renewable, non-polluting fuel source? It's likely that their solar panels won't offset the carbon emissions of even one Hummer's fuel use for a year, but hey, it's a good start. That's all the news for now, so back to Janaea and her guest.
Thanks, Rick. You know, we'll have it made when we've got Hummers that we can do plug-in electric, right?